A mistake that a lot of people make is they think one size fits all. The attorney just has a bunch of boilerplate, or the internet's just going to give me this piece of paper anyway. I mean, there's one born every minute. It's called a sucker. And if that's your attitude, I'm just like everybody else, then you're probably making a huge mistake in your estate planning because you're a unique individual. Your wants and needs aren't what the next guy's wants and needs are. I do my clients, and they come in, every one of them sits down, I interview them for a couple of hours and find out what they need to do, because what they need to do is unique in every situation. Oh yeah, there's a lot of boilerplate in legal documents and the wills and the trusts and stuff, but there are pieces that we change to fit the unique circumstances. So if you're going to the internet and you're just getting some document, you're getting the lowest common denominator. I mean, that's one size fits all. That piece of paper, oh yeah, they're going to ask you half a dozen questions. Well, what they're doing is they're leading you in to the document that they can generate. In fact, the lawyer does that. I can sit, I can give you the discussion, and I can lead you exactly where I want to go. Oh no, you can't do that. That's against the law. Oh, that causes problems. What they're really saying is, that's not what my document on my word processor or the document that I'm going to deliver over the internet, that's not what that says. So you've got to be careful. Well, what you've really got to do is you've got to know what your options are. If you know what your options are, then you can go in and say, no, sir, Mr. Lawyer, it's going to be this way. It's going to be this way. Well, how would you like to control your lawyer? That's what you need to do. You can't blindly walk in off the street and trust these guys to do what they need to do for you. It never happens. At a minimum, the guy's either going to be your buddy or your brother, and you could get a unique piece of paper in that respect. Or, at a minimum, you walk in off the street and say, no, sir, Mr. Lawyer, I want it this way, this way, this way, this way. The lawyers couldn't afford, in fact, you couldn't afford a living revocable trust 40 years ago, 30 years ago, until the advent of the personal computer or the word processor. These documents are long, and they were just outrageously expensive to generate because the secretary had to type all 45 pages. So the trusts were the tools of the rich. And actually, the trusts still are the tools of the rich. In fact, if you want to be rich, you've got to start thinking like the rich, and you've got to start using the tools. But you're unique. You've got to know what happens. You've got to know what your options are. Can I have more than one trustee? Can they act together? Can they act jointly? Can I have more than 2 trustees? Could I have 3 trustees? Can all the kids act as a trustee? What happens? What are the advantages, the disadvantages? What should the trust's name be? Nobody ever gives you a discussion on that. I discussed the trust name for 10 or 15 minutes with the people. I mean, you're naming basically another child. You can think of it. This child, this thing, this trust is going to own all your property. What does privacy mean to you? If I name the trust one name, does that give me more privacy than another name? What's your tax situation? Oh, the attorneys, they give you this Cadillac trust. Well, yeah, that's a great trust if I've got a $5 million estate. If I've got a $1 million estate or a $900,000 estate, I don't need that trust. That trust is just going to cause me thousands of dollars worth of legal problems down the road. So, what's the tax situation? Do I just give the property to the kids? Or can I meter it out to them a little bit at a time? Can I hold it until I get to be a certain age? Should I hold it until the little one gets to be a certain age? Do I just give it all out when what happens? These are things that the lawyers and the legal doom sites, they never discuss these things with you. How do you name the guardians? Well, it's not John and Mary guardians of the kids. Is John and Mary guardians to my minor children, provided John and Mary are still happily married and harmoniously living together? If they're divorced and living with a couple of sleazeballs, I don't want my little kids to go live there. John and Mary, provided they raise the kids in the family house or send them to the school or raise them in a specific religion. So what you do is you have to think, what are we doing here? What happens? A lot of people have an ex-spouse. Can I prevent the ex-spouse from getting custody, guardianship of the kids? The answer is no to that one, by the way. But I can make life miserable for the guardian spouse if they do get the kids. And if I make it miserable enough, 9 out of 10 times, or at least half the time, the ex-spouse isn't going to want the kids. So I've achieved what I want. These are things that make your estate planning unique. And you can't simply say, nah, one size fits all. One size doesn't fit all. You're unique. And you can't just say, Mr. Lawyer, set me up with your best. Because they're going to give you whatever they've got on their word processor. And I'll give it to you, the word processor makes it so that you can have a trust. So we're grateful for the word processor. But it also makes it so that I can generate the trust and I can customize it to you very easily. In the book, I go through what all your options are. And I give you advantages and disadvantages. It's just as important that you know disadvantages as it is the advantages. I don't care whether you do it or not. The problem is the lawyer's got to talk you into doing it. So he's going to sell you by giving you the advantages. He ain't going to give you the disadvantages. It isn't going to work. Look, your estate planning is something that is going to control every asset, everything you've worked your whole life for. Isn't it worth more than 10 minutes by checking a bunch of boxes on the internet, or sitting down for 20 minutes with an insurance dude or a financial dude or a lawyer who's really too busy that you're paying $150 an hour for and you can't afford to pay another dime? Wouldn't it be better to learn about it? The book that I have for you goes through. We have fun little stories. Like I've said, it's a Time Warner Book of the Month Club book a few years back. That means little old ladies should read it. And it's also 11 hours worth of continuing education credit for the financial planners. They read the book, they get 11 hours of continuing education credit. Put those two together, that means it's readable enough that little old ladies ought to read it in their book clubs. According to Time Warner, before Oprah there was Time Warner. And it's also technical enough that the financial planners, the certified financial planners, CFPs, should read it. So the book's a great read. Pick it up, learn what your options are. Don't make the mistake of saying, one size fits all, here's the internet form, it only cost me $10, or I'm only going to pay my lawyer $1,000. Actually, the internet form's more than $10 these days. But you understand what I'm saying. Learn the options, get what you want, not what the lawyer or what the internet guys are going to feed you. Mistake, one size fits all. No.